Here from Breakthrough Performance Coaching, taking a little bit deeper dive into the hows and whys behind the curtain, if you will. In this case, looking at the swim and talking about what body rotation actually means, what it looks like in practice, and kind of where you can take it in order to improve your own basics. It's an underwater clip of a triathlon race start. I'm going to just play it through at full speed and then we'll break it down a little bit more. A lot of different things going on, which is why we're going to pause here and just take this frame by frame. When we talk about body rotation, one of the things that's always emphasized is how rotation changes your body shape to interact with the water better. Unfortunately, the way that usually plays out in practice is folks get really caught up in their arms and how their arms are moving, and that body rotation just becomes this side-to-side swaying or differently, a side bending that isn't contributing to your forward progress in any meaningful way. And in some cases, it's really hurting it. First, let's take a look at this swimmer right here. Right? They've got their arm extended in front of them on their left side. Their right side, that arm is just about to finish the push back or the release of water. You can see their body is flat. The rotation is not occurring, so there's not space for this arm to push back to the body or to align the muscle structure to really engage the lats. And this other side, it's not supported in the front, so it's kind of like raising your hand in class when you're not really interested in answering the question. It looks the part, but the action behind it is a little bit less than what one might hope for. If we advance this same swimmer one frame, we see that they're continuing to move that underwater hand backwards. Oh, no, wait, it's coming out of the water. And they haven't rotated really at all. You see them starting to lift their shoulder in order to get that arm up out of the water because it's almost impossible to get a hand out of the water while keeping your trunk flat. It's one of the an additional reason why that body rotation matters. It makes room for the arm to recover through the air in an alignment that is not disruptive. And we'll just kind of take this through, and that rotation is really more of an arch of the rib cage than it is rotation. Although if you ask them, they will say they rotate really well to their breathing side, and that's because they are driving their rotation with their head. They're making space to breathe, but they're not using that body rotation as a positioning tool to move them forward. I'm going to slide us back just a little bit and focus on a different body. I'm going to focus on the body right next to them. And what you'd see on this arm, you might be thinking, oh, well, they're crossing over. They're getting ready to cross over the midline. Well, they are, but they're doing it because their body is flat and they are trying to align that arm someplace where it fits. When you hold your body in certain positions, your shoulder is less able to move with freedom and effectiveness. It really does depend on the alignment of that upper arm bone to the torso or to the trunk, to where the collarbone and the muscles or the bones of the back come in. So if we continue watching this human here, we can see they straighten that arm out as they roll into a breath, but only their shoulder rolls. Their hips stay essentially flat to the water. That is not a body rotation. That is an upper body or a rib cage rotation or a shoulder movement. And then you see the bend or crease at the hips as a way of generating momentum to move the arm through the air. And when that left arm enters the water, you see that back arching. You see the torso bending to the side. This is not rotation, although it passes for rotation in a lot of assessments or a lot of alignments, because it looks like the body is changing position, which it is, but it's not changing position in an effective way. It's like getting down on your aero bars and hunching over to reach them, as opposed to creasing at the hips to get down there. One is more effective and less energy sucking, the other one, the opposite. And if we continue to watch, we see that arm dropping out and the body continuing to do that very assertive side bending. Okay? If we think about every other sport we do, or every time we have to move a heavy weight, every time we have to do something awkward, we rely on our torso to set the stage for all of the power that happens at our limbs. So why aren't we doing that with swimming? For the most part, we're just rolling around the spine as opposed to actually driving through the water with the body. And one of the first things you need to know how to do is this, an independent torso rotation. This is just sitting on my knees, or standing on my knees, I guess, and working to move my body without moving my head or neck, without moving my arms, without generating that power from my legs. It's literally just engaging the torso. First you do it on land, then bring it to the water. And it is much more difficult than you think it would be. Once you start to try and practice this, don't be surprised if you are frozen in place. Keep working through that. And then once you get it down, add a pull buoy between your knees, ideally between your calves, so that it remains a torso-driven activity. If you control your body, you make space for your arms. If you control your body, you support the length of your arms in front of you. This is, to me, one of the most basic fundamental skills of swimming that we don't teach well. So I'm giving it to you. If we think about this as a mastery progression, right? First figure it out on land, then figure out how to do it in the water, and then finally figure out how to do it with a really focused concentration on the body work and not coming from the legs, the feet, the arms, or the head. All right, something to try. Take that out there. Let me know how it goes. Just reach out, breakthroughperformancecoaching.com.